Annette Sloan, and I am a STEAM teacher at Coastal Ridge Elementary for grades 2 through 4. Coastal Ridge is in York, Maine, and our STEAM program is part of our Allied Arts system. So I see all the kids, 340-ish, every week for one 50-minute period, and we're part of the rotation between library, PE, music, art, and STEAM. So, quick summary of this little tool. This is the VEX123 robot. This is the basic robot of the VEX robotics line. The next one up is the VEX Go, which I use with grades 3 and 4. And our middle school uses VEX, the high school uses VEX. So it's kind of cool to be kind of a feeder program for the more complicated VEX robotics. They have a great, robust website with lots of support, so check it out. It does take a lot. There's so many layers. They've tried to provide everything for you, but I'll just provide you my summary and viewpoint. And I got these robots from the Teach with Tech grant from the state of Maine. Thanks, Maine. They're super awesome. One thing I love right off the bat of this robot is that it has varied levels of interaction and movement. So the basic being the one you see. Arrows on the robot itself. That is all you need. Just the robot, your hands, able to roll it. And then the next level of expression is you have coding cards. So these can slide right into a coder tablet. And then from here, you slide them in, press play. You have to link these with the robot. And that takes a little bit of work, but that's a little bit easier than the hardest option, which is to go online, and there is a block-based coding program, which will then communicate via Bluetooth to your robot, and kids can program that way. That has the most options for coding, and ultimately, you can teach kids all of the options and have them choose or just work up to it. But I love that it already from the start has varied levels of ways that kids can interact with this. Just a side note, I feel like this is much more to manage for teachers than the third highest level. So these have one coding tablet and 5 pages of 10 each of little tiny tabs for each robot. They come by themselves, so they weren't connected to anything. You have to find out how to give each kid all 5 of theirs, or some suggestions say pull out the code tabs that you want your kids to use. I want them to have choice, and I also don't want to have to deal with a bajillion coding tabs. So for me, this has been very hard to manage. I have not figured that out yet. So we tried them with one class, then I realized how much of a mess it was, and the fact that second graders can probably not put them back carefully in all of these little pockets, especially because they were floppy. So what I have done is try to start, first I put them all on a color copier, and I copied them all. Then I cut them out, so it's almost like a little map. And then I was taping the plastic floppy thing to that. But then you also have to run tape down here so that you can get your tabs in. Then I haven't even gotten to the part where I am going to try to figure out how to stick 5 together. They're too big to fit on an 8.5 by 11 page. I thought a ring, but then I had made the plastic part too small. So if you think of a better way to organize these, please let me know. This is a great idea. I love that you have the steps all visually in order right here. And it lights up as the robot is fulfilling the steps. You also need to know that these need syncing. You have to name these before you just deliver them to kids. You're also gonna need to, you see how I was starting, you're gonna need to put batteries in each one of these, which involve unscrewing a teeny tiny screw. So don't do it thinking you're just gonna slam through and have kids put the batteries in for class. I did that and also realized second grade would need a lesson about how to use a screwdriver, how not to pry the plastic tabs because we broke the plastic tabs. So this is like a lesson in itself of like what direction to put the batteries in. So if you're gonna use these, set aside some time because these take a smidge of preparation and organizational skills. So I almost felt like it was easier for me to skip the kids, and it was easier for the kids, less to manage, if we went right to VEX123 coding website. You can still see the steps. It still highlights it in green, and I'll show you an example of that. Here's just a quick look at the code123.vex.com, the website that goes with it. So it's very similar to code.org, block-based programming. So it's pretty intuitive in that regard. I also love that it's very similar to the VEX Go robot site, which is the next level up of robots. So VEX does a really great job at developing a really smooth continuum from their early robots for young kids all the way through. So I love that, and essentially kids are developing those skills, but also they added enough here for your older kids to be entertained. I mean, they've got operators and variables. I've never used a variable even. So there's plenty to keep kids busy. Right up here where you see the robot, this is where you would connect your robot. If it's green, you know it's connected. So this is just a really good site. Also, the tutorials are helpful. Not too many of them, but this is key if when your kids are in the middle of a project and they need to leave class, or you have to move on to something else. If they name it and save it, then they can pull it back up as long as they're on the same device. So that's awesome, because we almost never yet have finished a project during one class session. That way they don't lose their code. So I love that option, but tutorials are there for you. Anyway, that's a quick little look at the coding website. As these robots come, it's just a little robot all by itself. 2 wheels on the bottom, batteries underneath. They do plug in to a charger. They come in a box that's all set. They have little places you pop them in. Each one has a charger, and then you can plug this into a USB port. It comes with a power plug, which is nice. And it's a quick visual of like, do I have all my robots, or is one in somebody's pocket? One fun thing is that they each come with a ring. They call it an art ring, I believe, but you can snap it on so that your sensor is still visible. But then this is, it allows you to start adding things on. And if you have VEX Go or further VEX robots, I think maybe just the Go, I don't know, they fit into these pieces. So we were able to take my box of extra parts and add on some VEX Go parts to make creations to drive the robot. You can also use pipe cleaners, just get creative. Or we've taped markers to these to try to draw while we are moving the robot around. So
I mean, the lights are cool, but it's probably on the floor.
we can watch that. So lots of options with the art rings. They're a little hard to snap on and off, so you might have to have the kids, everything with plastic we just talk about, do not force it. There is a way that it should come on and go and come off. There are so many ways you can integrate these, but reality is nobody, if we're thinking of how classroom teachers can use these, nobody has time just to do tech for tech. I'm in STEAM and I don't even have time to do tech for tech. In fact, tech should have a purpose and a greater reason that we are using it. So one option is, I have an A, STEAM, the A is for art, and we're using these almost to tell a story as if these are a character. So these have become, in my class, water drops as we work to understand our watershed and best practices for stormwater management. And in reality, we want to hold our stormwater. So we've had them basically program their robot as if it were a water drop. First, running the path of the watershed, then deciding how they can slow that water down and adding obstacles. You can get pretty creative. Just think, though, if you want them to have curved lines, then you're definitely going to want to go to the online coding program, because there are pieces where you can program it to turn a certain degree. The arrows are a great place to start because the turns are 90-degree angles essentially, and the forward is only forward a certain bit. Quick start tip, tape, colored in fact, if you have it. This was a great way to just decide I could fit these in, weave it in, integrate it with something we were learning, like the stormwater path, and then quickly tape it on the floor. And you can let kids use the tape if you are wanting to assess whether they can show you the path themselves. We did that from our school. They had to tape our school and then get to the ocean. But you can also have them create their own path. Keep in mind though, and it's actually helpful, tape is for the most part very straight, unless you're very precise about how you use it and bend corners. That helps when kids are just starting out because they only have 90-degree angle turns at their disposal. So if they have tape, then it eliminates some of the curved lines that you might be tempted to draw if you were just drawing a route out on paper. I would be remiss in any introduction of new technology if I didn't discuss classroom management, because that's such a key piece, in my opinion, of any technology use. So over the course of the years, I've taught kindergarten, first, third, I've been a technology teacher and coach, and essentially I've developed some little bits that I kind of embed into the class that help kids have as much of the power as possible to help themselves, have systems for helping each other, and kind of have a system of expectation for being able to, like, not trying to get to me right away and not yelling out Mrs. Sloan 42 times. But we needed a system in place. So the system is a couple things. First of all, I try to task analyze everything we do, and we do one step at a time. And then kids are expected, as soon as they're done with that step, to hop up and help a friend. And we use the analogy in class of a Tough Mudder race where you have all these obstacles, and if you run it as a team, you cannot leave your team behind. So you are not over that wall and like, peace out, guys, see you at the finish line, because you don't win at all. And you have to wait forever. So who wants to wait? So we have this habit, and we all say, or I say, when I think I've done it all, and they say, help a friend to jump the wall. And that's like our transition before we go to try this new thing. And then as soon as they're done, they hop up, they help a friend. So it gets everyone in the class done a lot faster than if I have to go around and show 10 kids how to do something, because they're helping each other. And then I also use the Ask 3 Before Me, and we have a system for that. So we have a whiteboard that is our help desk, or help list. And I have a student assistance coordinator who their job is to erase it at the beginning of class, make sure it's numbered. I have whiteboard markers and erasers right by the board. And so if kids have a question, they need to first ask anyone they're working with, like their partner, seems obvious, but they have to ask them first. They have to ask 2 other people. And then if they can't figure it out, they can put their name on this whiteboard so that while I'm going around helping people, I can just look at the board and know who's next. Also, that helps me because if 3 people are yelling Mrs. Sloan, I will then be attending to the loudest people in class, the people who really are vocal about their needs being met. But this is a silent cry for help, essentially. Also, it keeps I can keep track. So after I help the kid, I'll write on it next to the name what they needed help with. So then I have a record of like, 4 people needed help with this specific tech task. Now I know I should be introducing it. Like, we should talk about that as a class. So it serves as good information for me. And then we also work on very clear, like defining your problem clearly. None of this, I need help, because it tells you nothing. Like, okay, we all do. And you can't say it doesn't work, because also we don't know what doesn't work. Be very specific. So that way when they're getting help from friends, they're not wasting anyone's time. When I come over, they're like, I know my specific question. So those are just some habits we're really working on to manage technology. And for VEX123, it's been the same. And it is amazing how once you get in that habit, and we're still working on it, but kids get more used to that. And also I ask the student assistance coordinator to remind me if I am not using the system, because I will forget. The Lord knows I will forget 42 things. So they'll just be like, Mrs. Sloan, you have names on the list. Thank you. That's super helpful.